This is James Holder for IFL TV in association with Macklin's Gym Marbella. I'm in Kiel, Germany today. We've just had the weigh-in of Arthur Abraham versus Paul Smith. With me, I've got co-promoter Eddie Hearn. What's happening, Ed?
Part two.
Part two.
Because we had a little part one, didn't we, after the weigh-in? Now we're having a nice romantic dinner for two.
Indeed.
In the sleepy town of Kiel, about to be woken up by 1,000 Scousers.
I don't think they're quite ready.
They're not ready.
Not ready at all. It's quite weird at the weigh-in. Arthur Abraham, you would have, for all intents and purposes, thought he was the away fighter.
I know. He didn't. He looked quite shocked. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously, I guess like anything, if if one of our lads were fighting in a title fight and they were weighing in their hometown, they were booed onto the scales. It's quite strange, and I think he sort of looked half shocked. So he needs to expect more of the same tomorrow because they're going to be very, very loud. But ultimately, it's a ring. That sort of stuff goes out the window. It's all about who can keep it together on the night, who can execute a game plan, and I can't wait.
Paul Smith looks fantastic shape on the scales today. What did you think?
He's very confident. He's very experienced. You're not talking about someone who's just sort of been slung into a fight with no pedigree. He's a very talented fighter. He's got a history throughout his family of quality fighters. He's technically smart. He's fit. He can punch very hard. And ultimately, this is his shot. And he's got to deliver. If he's good enough, he'll win. If he's not, he won't win. But I think he's got a fantastic chance tomorrow night, and ultimately, this is his chance. I don't think there's going to be another one. If he can't get that world title tomorrow, it's unlikely he'll get another shot, so he has to give everything, and I think he's composed and prepared to give everything in that ring tomorrow night.
Rumours going around that maybe Arthur Abrahams has struggled with the weight this time
Who said that?
Well, just like talking to some of the German media guys. Apparently he's been running a lot this week in sweatsuits, and so you make of that what you do, to be honest. Yeah,
listen, I'm sure a lot of fighters struggle with their weight. It's probably one of the toughest parts of being a fighter. Sometimes when you're sort of a little less motivated for a fight than others, maybe you haven't pushed yourself as hard in camp, maybe you've left it a little bit late and you've had to cut weight late. Every fighter makes weight differently. Some like to hit the weight or thereabouts a couple of days before and do very little. Some like to train up until the weigh-in, and that's how they like to do it. Everyone's different. But Arthur's been around, do you know what I mean? Maybe he doesn't make the weight as well as he did the last fight, but he's not gonna. You can't imagine him having a car crash in making the weight because he's just too experienced. Do you know what I mean? And don't forget, he's a middleweight coming to super middleweight. So,
how did he do? Did he ever make middleweight?
I know, huge, isn't he? He's quite short, but he's got a huge neck, and he looks a little bit depleted. Like I was looking at his arms and stuff like that. But again, he's made weight, and you don't know how he's made it. But again, it wouldn't take too much. The time they've refueled and replenished, they'll be ready to go tomorrow night. What
I did see of the weigh-in, I see Joe Gallagher very insistent that he gets on the scales and stays on the duration. So
Joe's big on that. Yeah, a lot of mind games, like with the glove situation going on at the moment.
We'll come to that.
Yeah, so a lot of it is sort of standard procedure. People don't get to see what happens in rules meeting, close up on the scales, and it's all that kind of stuff. No, get back on. We didn't quite see it. Okay, you're fine. Thank you. It's just mind games between camps, and Joe and Uli. Me and Calla will have more sort of friendly banter back and forward, but obviously it's a lot on the line, and you want to make sure it's right.
Can we now come to the glove gate situation? I've heard different rumours and stuff. Can you clarify what's going on with the gloves?
Yeah, sure. So Abraham was originally going to wear Adidas, and if he did, we got to wear the gloves of our choice. We had Grant gloves standing by,
which Paul normally wears.
Correct. He then chose to wear Everlast and insisted that we wear Everlast too. Don't have a problem with that.
As the champion, has he got the right to do that?
He has if he didn't wear Adidas gloves. This was quite complicated, but basically, if he wore Adidas, Paul could wear whatever he wants. But if he wore Everlast, then he could choose the gloves that Paul wore. The problem is that the Everlast that were provided, which was a 1910 model, were not of anything that I've ever seen before. They were very, very padded. They were like pillows. And, Paul can punch, and perhaps that's why Abraham wants him to wear those gloves. I don't know. But the gloves, the quality, the style, the shape just wasn't suitable. So we said, look, we're happy for you to choose Everlast gloves for us, but not this particular model. So now we're bringing out a MX glove, which is another brand, another 1910 to look at the similarities, and also a Power Lock version. So a couple of different models. We'll present those to Team Abraham in the morning, and he can choose which one we want to use. Not looking to be difficult, just obviously in a fight of this magnitude you have to allow a fighter to be comfortable and happy with the gloves chosen, and these gloves were not suitable in Paul's opinion. So, you know, we would like to have worn the Grants, but he doesn't want us to wear the Grants, he wants us to wear Everlast. Not a problem, but we will find some Everlasts that are suitable. Hopefully Arthur Abraham will agree they're suitable, which I'm sure he will, and we'll all be fine. It's not, you know, this is, again, you don't get to see this, but this happens at every rules meeting for every major fight. So, again, it's just fun and games, but again, you've got to fight the corner of your fighter.
Do you think with him wanting those padded 1910s, does that give an indication maybe he's suffering from bad hands?
Could be a mixture of a couple of things. Could be bad hands, could be concerned about Paul Smith's power, you know. But again, Arthur Abraham can whack as well, so you'd think he'd want to wear puncher's gloves. I mean, the Grant puncher's gloves that Paul Smith would like to wear would ensure a brutal battle, but these ones might ensure a sort of playful pillar fight. I mean, they're that big. They're just not suitable for Paul Smith.
You must be exaggerating, they can't be that
big. No, they're just, you know, again, this is his fight, this is his moment. He's got to be allowed to wear something that is looking after the safety of his hands and also that he's comfortable with. Happy to wear Everlast, not happy to wear that particular glove that was brought. And that's a 1910, that's the model. Happy to bring another 1910 tomorrow just to look at the comparisons. But I've never seen a glove like that. I'm not saying I'm a glove expert, but I've been in 100 rules meetings and seen 500 different pairs of gloves, and I've never seen a glove like this. So, and they're not naughty, you know. They're not like the MX. I mean, MX and Reyes, and you know, they're like limited padding, and even the Grants are, you know, the puncher's gloves. These are actually the other way, you know. So, again, it's not. Listen, it's not going to be a problem. We'll get it resolved. Everyone's just got to be sensible. Myself and Callow, we were having a laugh and a bit of banter. We just want to get the fight on. But again, both fighters have got to stand their ground. We've got to stand the ground of our fighters and make sure everyone's happy. And I'm sure we will be.
Is it a worry for Paul? Because I know he's wore those Grant gloves since he injured his hand against George Groves. Since then, he's never had a problem with his hands. He's comfortable with them gloves. I think something like that can play out a fighter's mind.
No, I think he's too experienced. You know, I think ultimately you have to understand that when you're a challenger and you're a voluntary challenger, and you're coming into someone's backyard and you're given an opportunity, there's certain things that you can insist on and certain things that you can't insist on. You know, if you're a mandatory challenger, if it's going to purse bids, you can nick little bits and pieces. I get my own gloves, you know, or you know, different TV rights or radio rights, or give me an extra room, give me an extra flight. But when you're given the opportunity, like we were given this opportunity, sometimes you have to abide by the champion's rules. And generally, they'll select the gloves. We don't have a problem with him selecting the brand of the glove, just felt that that particular style was not suitable for Paul Smith and not suitable in a fight like this.
If Paul Smith does defeat Arthur Abraham, how highly would this rank in your personal achievements as a promoter?
It's not really about me. I was talking in the week about ego, and like honestly, I mean, people may look at me and think he's a bit of a flash Harry, and you know, listen, I'm one of the lads that like to have a bit of fun, but it's really not about ego. The minute you start making decisions that are based on ego rather than the principles of basic business, you will make mistakes. And that happens to so many promoters because I've seen it time and time again. So it's not about me, you know, it's about Paul Smith. It's not what, you know, how would this rate for me? I've done well to deliver him this shot. And I'd be absolutely chuffed for Paul Smith, and you know, great for Matchroom that we have another world champion, but I just like to see people get their shot and get their chance. And as I always state, if you're not good enough, you won't win. You know, and we've seen Brian Rose, Lee Purdy, Darren Barker before we won the world title, Gavin Rees, come and fail in attempts to win a world title. But you've got to take those opportunities. That's what you're in the game for. You know, Paul Smith, he's won domestic titles, he's been in big fights. This is his dream, to challenge for a world title. If he's good enough, he'll do it. And if you look at the odds in the fight, he's not that much of an underdog. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, 7-2. I mean, look, he's an underdog, but it's not. You know, people are giving him a chance in this fight, and I'll give him a real chance. We all know how difficult it's going to be, but sometimes you're in the right place at the right time in life, and yeah, it'd be massive for him to do it, and you know, a huge achievement for a great family. You know, 4 brothers. I mean, I think sometimes it's downplayed, just the fact that 4 brothers in the family can all be major champions and quality fighters, and probably will all challenge for world titles at some point. You know, and that's a huge achievement. And you know, it would be great for them to be able to have a world champion in the mix, and you know, we'll see tomorrow night.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the running order and how things will play out? Like, for instance, what time will Matthew Macklin be on?
Matthew Macklin will be on about 6:30.
English time?
German time. So 5:30. Joe wants to get him done and dusted out of the way.
Of course.
He'll be filmed for Sky and then shown when Sky go live. Stephen Smith, as we know, has got a kidney infection and won't be taking part in his bout. Masternak's on. Feigen Burtz. He looks. I mean, that looks like it's going to be a really good fight. It's going to be it's going to be a good card tomorrow. There's, you know, some good fights, interesting card. And then the Smith-Abraham fight will be on at around, I think they'll ring walk at 11 o'clock, which is 10 o'clock UK time, which is a really good sort of peak time. And there we have it.
Estimated viewing figures for this look to be going through the roof.
Yeah, I think it will do well. I mean, you know, a lot of people know Paul Smith. He's been around, he's boxed on Sky for a long time. Obviously, he's a pundit as well for Sky. Arthur Abraham is a world-renowned quality fighter. You know, he's boxed a lot of greats. So I think, you know, it will rate well. Saturday nights, you know, you're always up against some real tough stuff. You know, you've got the reality TV programs, but then you've got Match of the Day as well. But you know, we've had a big run of fights lately. You know, September the 13th was Manchester. September the 20th was George Grove. September the 27th is here. Next week, October the 4th, is Leeds. The week after is the O2. The week after that is Golovkin against Rubio. The week after that is Hull, Katsidis and Campbell and Coyle. So I think it's like 7 out of 8 weeks on the spin, boxing on Sky. So it's great. It's good times.